to me, when I look at what's happening there, what people are finding, the different types of commodities that they're finding, it almost feel like there's a big cooking system that it's not just lead and zinc, it's not just rare earths.
Oh yeah.
What else could be there? And that kind of thinking is a bit like the lithium exploration site, where people are now starting to find stuff in areas where they never thought. The low-hanging fruits.
It's a Proterozoic origin. It's the edge. It's a craton margin mobile belt. So it's like the Gawler Craton, not the Gawler Craton, the Olympic Copper Gold Province in the Gawler Craton. It's like the Eastern Succession in Mount Isa. It's like the Gravellian origin in Canada, where like Voisey Bay and stuff are. You have your real stable Archean things that have been sitting there for 3 billion years, but then you have these bits in between, the Patterson origin, Telfer, Nifty, Javieron,
the Albany Fraser.
It's these bits, these belts that are around the edges of these cratons, where you've had all this movement, so you've had all this opportunity for fluid and stuff to come through. So
it's just like the Kimberley, where Argyle sits on this belt, right?
That Kimberley belt that sort of goes, I can't remember what it's called, but I think it's King Leopold origin. It's that's a mobile belt as well. It's exactly the same.
That's why when you look at, my next question was, how many of these systems are still around? So when the latest one that I've sort of been talking about, obviously I'm sort of involved with projects, is the bit that's in between what people understand as the Olympic belt and the Gawler Craton as is. Like that whole area now, with the age dating we've got, changes people's thinking. So you're on the margin, right? You always talk about these margins.
Yeah.
So that is effectively the margin you've been describing.
Probably the downside of the Capricorn origin is that there's so much outcrop that the view is, if it's there, it must have been found already. Right? So, but not all of it's outcropping, and not all of it's obvious. And some of these things are quite small. Carbonatite might only be 500 metres by 500 metres. That's pretty, that's a needle in a haystack, in a paddock full of haystacks, in a farm full of paddocks, right? That's how I sort of put it. So these things are small, but Whaleshark, the thing about Whaleshark is that yes, it's part of that belt, but it's undercover in the basin, so it doesn't outcrop. And there's the same rocks that are all around Dreadnought and everyone in that sort of Gascoyne province are out at Onslow as well, but they're under 50 to 100 metres of cover. So there's no reason why there couldn't be carbonatites sitting underneath the Carnarvon Basin at Onslow.
Or something else.
They had Explorer for it, right? So it's all a bit of a... the geology's good, but, what makes that different from that bit?
Yeah.
And how do we decide to go here and not there? So it's an interesting part of the world. We've got... how many projects have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4... We've got effectively five projects in the Bangemall. 2 of them are granted. So we've got Mount Vernon, where we did the EM, and we've got all these EM anomalies that we need to follow up for nickel. We've got Dawley Downs, where we've just done this radiometric survey. Pretty much north of that is a thing called Blue Bar. That's still an application, but so how's this for a mix? We think there's nickel-copper PGE potential. There could be rare earth potential. There's a huge uranium anomaly there, and there's a diamondiferous lamproite with 27 microdiamonds in it in one project.
Yeah.
So you go, wow.
I know. That's why I sort of been focusing on this, because, that whole region is ripe for discovery, and we, as you pointed out, you actually don't know what you're going to get. It's like, we talked about having food analogies. It's like walking in the room and smelling something really nice, but you're not quite sure what's in the pot. Yeah. And I think that's where everyone's at with that region. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, well, as I said, we went there looking for one thing. We're there looking for nickel-copper PGEs. But as we go through the sort of limited amount of historical data there, we realise that there's potential for this, there's potential for this, someone's reported this, and you go, okay. So it's in this market, it's, you can be a bit cynical, and there's a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon and stuff, but I guess there's a trade-off between jumping on the bandwagon or being a nimble junior explorer that can react to an opportunity. And the zinc stuff in the Irahiri Basin is a classic example of that too, right? You know, you got greenstone belts and, oh, hang on, there's a bit of zinc here.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's Chinook and all these other discoveries. So, you got to have a plan, but sometimes if you get too focused, you can miss another opportunity. And there's plenty of examples of that, right?
Yeah, I think that's the key, is that, you know, you got to be flexible. And that's the name of our game, right? Today you're looking for A, but B could be the payday.
Classic example of that is Tropicana. So Western Mining went out to that area looking for nickel.
Yeah.
And they got a gold anomaly. And they took it to the gold team and said, hey guys, we've got this gold anomaly. And the gold team went, it's the wrong rocks.
Yeah.
And let it go.
Yeah.
Tropicana, right. So you got to be, you know, you got to be careful about being too fixed, but you also just can't do everything.
Yeah.
You can't just like do everything, you just go broke.
There's too many analogies. You know, my classic was Gold Road. Two young rocks.
Yeah.
You can't find anything there. Today is 10 million ounces coming out.
Yeah.
Granites and gold. We don't.
Well, Hemi. Hemi's a classic example. Pilbara.
Yeah.
Pilbara's no good for gold.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
look at Hemi now. Yeah,
I've had many comments. People say, "Oh, Pilbara has heaps of gold, but we can't find where the source is. It's just too hard." You know. Then you got Hemi. Then when you look into it, that's just conversation, because you got Hemi there. You've got Calidus got stuff there. Kairos has got it. You know, there is a lot of gold.
Hemi's a game changer.
Yeah.
Hemi is a real deal. You know, 150 kilometre long greenstone belt. All these intrusives along it. Lots of targets. Lots of good hits. That's a real project. That's a game changer for the Pilbara.